Today we're going to be installing the Takancha P3 proportional brake controller. The reason I went with this is because Cliff already runs this in his 2014 Silverado. So if you're interested in how to install this in your 3rd gen Silverado, be sure to click the link above in this video and that will take you there. Now when you pick up your Takancha P3 brake controller, you're also going to want to order the plug and play wiring harness. This will allow you to plug in the brake controller to your truck. This will also work for the P1 and P2 Takancha brake controllers. Next, you're going to want to pick up a 7-way and 4-way combination trailer wiring kit. So this plugs into the back of my truck and allows me to have access to a 7-pin and a 4-pin trailer wiring. In this case, we're working on my 2004 Silverado 1500 4x4. Regardless, it still does have most of the wiring necessary to run 7-way connectors for the trailer. So I'm lucky because this will accept the plug and play harness for my truck, but not all Silverados will have this plug in the back of the truck. So you may need to splice in your own wirings. Finally, you're going to want to pick up a 30 amp FMX fuse that we're going to install under the hood in the fuse box. This will allow power to run to the brake controller. Step 1 is to remove your license plate, which will give you access to the hole in the bumper. What you're going to look for under here is your plug. It should be sitting above your spare tire. As you can see, there's a cap in here. If you pull that cap off, it gives you access to all the wires in a 7-pin connector form. If you have this in your truck, this kit will work perfectly. As you can see, it plugs right in, and this will give you access to the 7-pin and 4 pins. So after you confirm that you have this connector, you're gonna need to figure out where to put this. So some people will actually cut the hole in their bumper and mount it like a factory positioned 7-pin connector. But if you use the bracket, you can mount it under the bumper. I'm going to take a spring-loaded punch and mark the holes where I want to drill. And we use the 3/16 drill bit, which works perfectly for the hardware included with the kit. After drilling the first hole, I installed the first nut and screw, so now I can mark my second hole.
You might want to put the pliers back up in there. Mention it's a 10 mil.
Run the plug and the connector through the hole. Run it up and over the spare tire. Take the rest of the hardware and mount it to the bracket and tighten these up with a 9mm socket. You don't want to over tighten these because this is plastic. Finally, plug in the connector to the factory wiring harness. Now come into the cabin of your car on the driver's side, and right where your left foot will be, there's this box with a cover on it. Take this cover off.
Some bracing against it.
And plug in the brown connector to the second from the left on the top of the box. Like that. So now the plug and play harness is integrated into the truck. After plugging that in, all you need to do is run this end to the brake controller. But next we need to install the actual brake controller onto the truck. In the box you'll actually get a wiring harness, but it's not specifically for any truck, so you'll need to integrate it yourself. It's a lot easier just to buy the quick connect harness that we'll have linked in the description below. You'll also get this plastic bracket if you want to remove the brake controller, and a metal bracket that you actually screw to the truck. The brake controller itself comes in a nice little carrying pouch and a sandwich bag. And here's the unit itself. So like I said, this plastic bracket allows you to quickly snap it in, and if you want to remove it, you can do that. Otherwise, if you don't plan on removing this, you can simply screw this metal bracket directly to the unit itself. You'll also get the necessary hardware and some quick wire connectors. In this bag, we have the self-tapping screws that we're going to use to mount the metal bracket to the truck. And of course, we always recommend that you read the instruction manuals because we know everyone loves to read. Or you could just watch the rest of this video. This is where I'm going to be mounting the bracket for the brake controller.
Sound of cold plastic.
The only problem with putting the bracket here is the screws actually poke through in this compartment, so you can poke your fingers by accident. So if you don't want that, you can either drop a bolt through there and put a nut on the bottom, or you can put a rubber pad in here to protect yourself. The biggest concern when you're mounting the brake controller is you want it to be forward and backwards in line with the truck. We'll show some graphics of what we mean. Ideally, this brake controller won't be angled to the left or to the right, so it will be level, and also you want it to be forward backwards in the direction of travel. As far as up and down, that doesn't matter. Now, as you can see, the brake controller is currently on. If your brake controller doesn't turn on when you plug it in, then you're gonna have to go under the hood and add a fuse. So come on the driver's side of your car, near the battery, and pop this cover off. If you look for the pink fuse, right here, this is the fuse that you need to add. So as we showed you earlier in the video, it's a 30 amp fuse and it drops right in there. Also, if you notice, this is currently on even though the truck is off. Some people get concerned when they see that this light stays on for a while. This is because the unit actually turns off after 10 minutes of the truck being off. So don't be concerned, this will not drain your battery overnight. It will turn itself off. So there you go, guys. That is how you install a brake controller and trailer adapter on a 2004 Silverado and probably most other first-gen Silverados, especially if you have a trailering package already. If you found this video to be helpful, please give us a big like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Have a good one.